Thanks a million for your time. First off, we've just had House of Cards Season 3 start in the UK, so the Underwoods, it's probably fair to say that life at the top isn't exactly as sweet as they were planning.
I think one of the most, people, it's been interesting the last couple of days or so with people asking, well, what's left now that they've reached the White House, what else? And it's like, well, wait a minute, do you think that they don't have ambitions about being in the White House, that there are actually things they don't want to accomplish? It's not like their sense of wanting to accomplish something stops because they got to a place. It's when you're in that place that you can actually do things and maybe be effective. And I think that for me and maybe for an audience, one of the things that's been very interesting to examine is how do two people who have been quite brilliant and successful at working in the shadows now have to work within the biggest spotlight that they cannot get out of. And it's a very interesting thing to examine in this particular season.
And to have these particular characters have to follow a system. We have our own system. And so that, I think, is more the challenge.
Because without question, there is a tradition and a way of doing things in the White House. The White House is bigger than its current resident. And so they have to suddenly find themselves in this world that they have to, in many ways, adopt to.
Like our current situation with our president, it's like, oh, everything's going to be great. And then he gets in and it's like, oh, wow, so many people are out to get him that, it's a lot harder to get things done. Everyone campaigns with all these great promises, but it's so hard to come through because there's so many things fighting against you. So I think it's interesting that they were just like, let's go for what would really happen.
Robin, I suppose Claire, not exactly cut from the First Lady cloth. How does she cope with being put in that FLOTUS role in Season 3?
It's twofold, because if you are a team and you're an item and you have an agreement, which we do as Team Underwood, I do for you and you do for me. It's when it's not reciprocal. That's where trouble sets in. And in this season in particular, that's, I think, where the egg starts to crack. So she doesn't have a problem being the FLOTUS. But as long as I do this for X amount of weeks, you're then going to have to pay me back. And that's where we get very titillating Season 3, I think.
We have officially gone beyond the original House of Cards series now. So is it fair to say that anything could happen?
I think even this year you saw things that we didn't expect to happen. We never knew what happened. It was going to be a 26-part miniseries, Fincher had told me in the beginning. So I think we're already into new territory as far as deviation from the original, which I give the utmost praise to. Ian Richardson was unreal in that role. And I loved what I saw of it. Fincher made me stop watching it. He said, we're not making that show. And I was like, all right, cool. So, yeah, I think we expect anything, that's our show. Just expect anything always.
We never really intended on following the storyline of the original. We wanted to, in a sense, pay homage to its brilliance in certainly the first season. But we always intended that at a certain point, we had to go off and make our own story and not be beholden to storylines or events or even characters that existed in that first series. But it was a great show, a brilliant foundation for us to be able to start to now pave our own runway.